Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the Field Studio. Well, today I just wanted to share a little project I'm doing for about a year now. It's a work in progress and it's not my first robotic project, but it's one of the biggest I've tackled so far. So I present to you my robot, which is called Elliott. My girlfriend gave it that name. I think it's a pretty cool name for a robot. So we're gonna go deeper into the mechanism of the robot and how I built different modules to control the wheel. And I'm gonna talk to you about what's coming next. Enjoy. It may looks like a mess of wire right now, but it's just because it's in progress and I'm gonna explain it to you and you will see this is not that much complicated. So at the beginning I had this little IR controlled robot, which was a pretty small robot on track. It was driven by some 5-volt motors, and so you could control the forward of the left wheel, forward of the right, and backward for both. And I thought this was a pretty cool module to control a robot, but it was a little bit limited by its circuit. So I decided to hack the board, the small board, to make it able to control bigger motors. So these motors right now are car wipers motors, so it's about 12 volt and it's low RPM but a lot of torque, and it's pretty cool to work with these motors since they are made like endless screw. For the base of the robot, it may look pretty heavy, and yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's about 20 pounds, and what I used was an old lighting fixture which was a VL 3000, I think. It was scrapped at my job and I decided to repurpose this fixture to create the base of the robot. First we have this little 12-volt battery here. It's an acid battery which is supplying all the control of the robot. Here we have a 12-volt which is not used. It's gonna be used for the head of the robot, which is a rotating head. Here we have another 12-volt to control actually these relay board. The relay board is where all the motors are controlled or activated. Here we have a plus 5-volt which is used to power up these the receiver of that little module, which was working on a 5-volt supply. And here we have a 9-volt which will eventually control an Arduino board. It's not there yet, but it's in progress too. It all starts with this little remote here, just sending an IR signal into the receiver here, and then these connections were intended to drive some 5-volt motors, so I just jumped it into my hacking board, which instead of driving the 5-volt motors, they are driving some transistor, and the base of basic transistor, and then it activated a LED to see if it's working, and it was working well. And then the signal is sent into this relay board, and each of the pair of relay is controlling a direction and a wheel. Let's say I'm controlling the right side, these relay activated to go forward, and if I want to go backward, another pair of relay is activated. So an expensive way of making a H-bridge with relay. So right now the IR receiver is activated. I'm gonna power up the remote. Okay, so now I'm gonna send a signal with this little remote. And remember, this was a Toys R Us toy, a little kit to build a robot. Let's see some of the function. Right now I'm gonna trigger some relay. So you see this one is sending and it's flashing, so it's sending a command to this transistor, and this transistor is driving these relay. I think you may hear the relay clicking right now. What is cool about this remote right now is that I cannot drive a motor forward or backward at the same time, so my H-bridge is manually protected by the function of this remote. So I'm gonna power up the motors and show you how it moves. Okay, so this is a pretty big robot, and I suggest you don't get in the way when it's moving. It's not moving that fast because I slowed down a little bit the motors. This big battery is supplying the voltage for all 4 motors, and each motor's in direction is protected with a fuse. When you push both direction backward, the robot just moves backwards. So it's rolling pretty smoothly. I got the wheel from baby carts. Yeah, a baby cart that was in the trash. So you can make it turn on itself. So this robot is pretty easy to control. Even a kid can control it. And here you can see there is a wire connected to the housing of the metal housing of the robot, and then it's touching the ground, because at the beginning I had a little issues in which the robot was rolling and the wheel were accumulating static power, and when after I was touching the metal casing, I had this little static shock, which was not really fun. That's why I got this little ground here. Okay, so that's about it for the control of the robot. I'm gonna show you the next step I want to take, which is building the head of the robot. When it's not operated, I think that it's a bit sad that the robot has no interaction with its environment, so that's why I decided to implement a head to this robot, which was in the past a dome for a security camera. So right now it's the head of my robot. So it's mounted on a motor, so the head can turn on 360 degrees. Eventually, what I want to achieve with the Arduino and some logical control is to put 2 electret microphones into the head, so it can rotate to the left when it detects a sound from the left, and same for the right. And inside I decided to implement a motion sensor to detect actually if there is movement around Elliott, so it can trigger a wake mode or just get rid of the standby mode when the robot is just not operated but it's still in function. These are a pretty cool idea and pretty basic concept that I just combined together to make a functional robot, and ultimately it would be to bring the robot inside so it can just deliver a little USB plug so you can charge your electronic device, your cell phone, your iPad, iPhone, stuff like that. And that's why I bought a little USB 5-volt charger, so it's gonna be implemented into this robot. That's about it for the functionality of the robot. Okay guys, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you can subscribe to look forward to Elliott and what's gonna come next, so you can follow its developments. So meanwhile, just continue dreaming. You can build yourself a cool robot from scratch. Yeah, because DIY is all about building yourself stuff from scratch or by using stuff that already exists and modify it so it can fit your application. And I hope you enjoyed the show, and again, just subscribe and like my channel. So see you soon guys.